Hi everyone. Um, Today we're going to do a presentation for marketing principles for the topic perceptual positioning. Okay, this presentation is proudly brought to you by Wei Jie and myself, Matthew Lisbon. Okay, so what we're going to do today is going to do introduction to you about RENS Enterprise. RENS, it's a Japanese food-centric company. Okay, RNS Enterprise is actually brought into Singapore, but in 1988 by a native, an Osaka native, Mr. Hiroshi Tatara. Okay, what's more original than having a native run the business, right? Okay, and he brought a slice of the Japanese lifestyle into Singapore. And when I talk about a slice, I really mean it by a slice. Okay, because for those that have actually went to Tokyo before, you would actually know that you will have very exotic food or very specialized food in Japan. You have a whale meat burger over there, which I don't think Singapore has it. Okay, so when I say a slice, it's really a slice. Okay, they brought a slice of Japanese into Singapore with the first two restaurants that they have. Okay, they are namely Takahashi, which I do not know when it started because I've never seen this brand before, but definitely for the chain of Fiesta restaurants. Fiesta was previously the in thing man for Japanese food to go to for any family group that can afford it. Okay, over the years, RENS Enterprise actually developed into new brands to actually curb with the growing demands of the consumers, and as well as the need to actually brand themselves differently and to have more concepts to entice the consumers. Okay, so they came up with brands like Korea Dining, which is the most exquisite fine dining in Japanese culture, Japanese food in Singapore, and then specialized specialty food like soba named Shimbashi Soba, which has handmade sobas in the restaurant located in basement one of Paragon. Okay, it's somehow kind of like my playground right now for Paragon. Okay, and then for buffet cravers or buffet fanatics, they also actually entertain such a portion in the food industry where Kushimbo is actually being launched. Okay, and then a very nice mixed fusion kind of Japanese concept, Ichiban Boshi. Okay, today every household, even my own family, when my mom asks me, "Hey, let's go for Japanese food," and the next thing we know, we'll say, "Hey, let's go for Ichiban, man." Ichiban is, it means good in Japanese, so Ichiban, that's definitely good Japanese food, and it's always on the tip of my tongue that whenever a family outing for Japanese food, we will always say Ichiban or Kushimbo to actually satisfy our Japanese food craving. Okay. Recently, we were amazed by the technology that RENS Enterprise has actually brought into Singapore to expedite the process of the food production and distribution. Okay, Wei Jie and me actually went to the factory outlet, or should I say the food plant that they prepare from the raw food to packaging and to vacuum packing before distribution. From the head to the toe of from one end to the other end of the machine, it's uh, just two or three persons overseeing the whole procedure. We put in like fillets of salmon, and on the other end is being vacuum packed up in slices or being cut nicely into that sashimi cut. Okay, so with that connection that I managed to get, we managed to see this amazing food plant, and it's truly amazing. Um, RENS is truly an inspiring story of how a small little Japanese food take idea kind of like blossom like the sakura in Japan, to something that's so wow and important, or should I say a need in the food industry right now. Okay, for their future, it's really really truly a beginning for them because they are really moving with the food trend. Not only just moving with it, but also being a trendsetter in the Japanese food industry. Okay, I'm going to talk a little bit about the founder, Mr. Hiroshi Tatara, or should I say Hiroshi-san. He is the founder, owner, president of RENS Enterprise, okay? And definitely I would like to say that, back in those days, shitty days, where, when Singapore started to bring foreign investors into, or foreign entrepreneurs into Singapore, the foreign investor or business owner will need local Singaporeans to actually be also part of the board of directors to be able to operate. So Hiroshi-san actually got two locals to actually join him with this gastronomical journey that he has in plan for 25 years. Mr. Lim Ho Seng and as well as John Yek. Okay. For over the 25 years, they have came up with 60 restaurants in Singapore and some other in Malaysia, and a total of about 20 brands that we are more or less familiar with for those Japanese food fanatic like myself. Okay. This is the business concept that, or should I say that the business segments, two business segments that RENS kind of like are very proud about themselves. Okay, two business key segments that I would like to highlight. A full service restaurant segment comprises of 34 restaurants in Singapore and 4 restaurants in Malaysia. The second segment is to actually address the current quick issues, the quick demands that we have in the society right now. So we have quick service restaurants, convenience stores, and as well as other segments such as food kiosks, so on and so forth. So for this segment, right, RENS Enterprise has actually 38 outlets. Okay, over 20 concepts, total 72 F&B outlets in Singapore and as well as 5 F&B outlets in Malaysia. Okay. If you look at the geographical positioning of the segment of the map that we have on the background, RENS still have a office in Osaka, even though they have made known to most people or most investors that Singapore is still the HQ. Okay, why Osaka right now? Why do they have an office in Osaka? This is the reason why we have all the RENS restaurants have the fresh food, because it's all imported from Osaka. Okay, Osaka is right now, it's like an office, a logistic hub, the acquisition hub for all the fresh food that is being brought into Singapore. Okay. Singapore being the HQ for RENS Enterprises, they have these restaurants, and as well they expand into Malaysia as well, Kuala Lumpur, because I have actually been to Kuala Lumpur itself. The service is exactly the same and the food is slightly different because of the local culture needs. They have actually tailored to the need. So meaning per se halal food. Okay, so the Japanese food there has been tailored to a halal method, but for halal standard kind of Japanese food, I think it's really well done up and it's as good as Singapore, and I really love it as well. Okay, so I'm gonna move on to the next slide. RENS has actually prided themselves on their brand positioning. They did all this intensive research over the years, backed by in-depth research of the growing domestic consumptions in Singapore. With the rising domestic consumptions backed by Singapore population growth and increasing household incomes, okay, to average monthly household incomes among residents, they notice there's a general increase, and then as well as families start to have dual income. Mothers and fathers are working just to feed their children or to maintain the family. Okay, they did this research to actually facilitate the pricing, deciding on the pricing, coming up with the pricing, and then how the food trends should change and what should be included in their menu to actually be able to accommodate the pricing. Okay, and like what have I shared with you just now about the technologies that the food plant were using. Okay, RENS invested a lot on technology innovations that will drive transactions and sales growth in the consumer food industry, service industry. Okay, they invested in automation systems for their food preparation to distribution, to to packaging for the food. That is technology. They put technology into their restaurants as well. You know, it's not just only an iPad ordering. It's not just a POS system that actually deals bills tabulation. It's actually an interactive menu that allows you to play around with the pictures, get a feel of how the food is like before ordering. Okay, and with the rising demand and the trend that you and me are into, like right now, e-commerce, we order things on Q10 from Lazada, from Wish. They actually embark on this as well, online market. Okay, so you are ordering food online, such as your sashimis, your tempura fries and everything, right on their website. It's just like an online web marketplace where you can order your Japanese needs, okay, and it's being delivered to your place. I've tried it before, and it's really being packed properly in ice packs and everything, okay, with dry ice inside the ice pack. So they also look into the significant potential of people like us right now, the quickie generation, where we actually want ready to eat meals, to eat and go because of our time schedule, or should I say that because we want to go attend to something else, Facebook or whatever not. So they came up with this ready to eat segment in Singapore as well, where everything is just pack ready, sauce on, pack and go. So that's to facilitate our busy people. Okay. RENS is also looking into opportunities, not just in Singapore as a F&B player, but also to tap into the rest of the region within Southeast Asia. But they have reserves with regards to this because of different cultures. Different cultures have different acceptance, and different cultures or different countries has different economical groups where it may not be appropriate for Japanese food to enter the market with a high price. Okay, this is going to be a very nice journey to be sharing with you. Okay, RENS has evolved from a very humble restaurant that is just in Cuppage, and then as well as Heartland restaurant to facilitate to families. Okay, they have a very, very wonderful food evolution journey. Okay, this gastronomical journey, I need to bring you through it because after looking at this timeline, or this food evolution line that RENS Enterprise had actually embarked on, you will learn to appreciate Japanese food more. You'll learn to appreciate branding more. You'll learn to appreciate how RENS put in the efforts to actually cater to us consumers. It's a new level of demand, and I salute to them. Okay. In 1988, like I shared with you before, they are a pioneer in Japanese food with only 2 restaurants. One I have not heard before, which is named Takahashi, and next one, which is always present back in my primary school days, still named Fiesta. It's a family chain outlet that's most in most Heartland malls. Okay. In 1995, there was this trend change that consumers were hunting for exclusive services. Okay, we talk about it. This is the one I'm talking about. Exclusive services. Okay, exclusive services mean per se they want more attention to the services, attention to the food being presented to them. Okay, and then the ambience is kind of important as well. And that's when RENS Enterprise actually launched Ichiban Boshi. I remember in those days when my parents bring me to this restaurant. Okay, it's so nice with a conveyor belt going on. Ladies in little so-called concept kimono kind of wear, in a modernish kimono kind of wear, serving you food, and we are sitting on tatami sofas or tatami mats and low tables to consume our food. Okay, that is what I mean by exclusive services. Okay, and then in 1998, okay, where there is a shift in the food industry where people like myself, we go for specialty food, right? Back then, my mom taught me and my parents taught me on appreciating different kind of food in focus. So RENS move along with it, where the demand of where the demand is for this specialized or specialty food type, a chain of different brands will actually launch, okay, to satisfy the demand that to cater and satisfy the demand of the market. Okay, I remember back in those days where I'll hear the king 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 of the Japanese grill pan, and we have teppanyaki for the night, and it's all pure for entertainment. The sound, the whatever things that the chef is frying and flying over the teppanyaki grill. Okay, that it's yakibo that they actually launched, and I'm so glad that I have that experience before that long ago. Okay, and then there is also another one that is being launched out called Shimbashi Soba, which is exquisite handmade soba. I've actually been to this restaurant. It's located at basement one of Paragon. Okay, the flour that was being grinded out from the grains is actually through a stone mold machine. So that's how the machine, the flour is being made for the soba itself. So it's really good. You guys got to try it one day. Okay, in the year 2000, the millennium year, there was this craze where people go for buffets, international continental buffets in hotels. We go for line buffet in Shangri-La. We go for a Seoul Garden, all the grill Korean food, and then we have so much buffet craze going on that actually RENS did not actually let this chance go as well. They capitalized on the craze, and then they launched Quishimbo. If you remember this restaurant where they go don 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 Quishimbo da 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 da. Okay, that is the restaurant that created this vibe where there is an hourly specialty with a full range of Japanese cuisine from A to Z, from the smallest thing of the normal sushis that we can find in our supermarkets to all the way to snow crab that's being laid out at your disposal. Okay. And back in those days, at the same time, there was also another group that actually moved into the requirement for ambience and dining, being romantic, being at the right time, that kind of things. So Emmy was actually being launched as well. Emmy is basically a restaurant that, for a lesser of a better word to say, okay, it's actually food done by Picasso. You have a big white plate with little bit, tiny bits, sprinkles of food here and there on a big white plate with a little bit of gel here, soya sauce there, as though it's done by Picasso, and it costs a bomb. So Emmy was being launched back in the millennium for the change, to welcome the new crowd demands. Okay, in 2003, where after SARS and everything went on, RENS noticed that they actually need a rebranding, and there is changes that need to be made to fit into the millennium. Okay, Fiesta was then being rebranded to be called Ichiban Sushi. So right now, instead of Fiesta in all the Heartland malls, now you see Ichiban Sushi everywhere in Heartland malls. Amokyo Hub, Jurong Point, Westgate, Causeway Point, and so on and so forth. You can basically see them all everywhere. Tampines one too. Okay, so Fiesta's brand has been retained for its cheesecake. Okay, and the rest of the restaurant has moved into another phase, which is called Ichiban Sushi. Okay, so this is so much of the rebranding. They move a little bit and change the industry a little bit and make it better. So right now we move to 2005, where the market trend changed again. The consumers started to appreciate the authentic style in food, the actual Japanese hospitality. So this exquisite, expensive, wallet's going to be torn restaurant was being actually rolled out. There's a few Korea dinings in Singapore. Korea fine dining. Okay, it's a fine, exquisite, exotic Japanese dining restaurant. Okay, where basically it's specifically for big spenders that looks for the exquisite and exotic taste. Okay, you have one in Korea Penthouse. It's called Korea Penthouse, located at Orchard Central. I've been there, and I'm going to tell you how much I spent in the next slide. So bear with me for a little while more longer. Okay, so 2008, there was a demand where people like us, myself, not that I'm really very young, but the demand for the local experience. When I say local, I mean the Japanese local experience. Okay, so RENS noticed this demand and this change and this new idea that everyone is doing, bringing different food, done in a very local way from where they come from. They brought this idea into Singapore again. They refreshed the industry needs. They refreshed the take of Japanese food again with local foods being done in a Japanese street way. So taking for a good example, okay, Jurong Point has a Japanese street alley where you have little food kiosks, just like how Tokyo Street is. Okay, so if you have the time, go down to Jurong Point and then take a look at how this little Japanese local experience is in Tokyo. It's basically a mini Tokyo in Singapore. Okay, back in 2010, if you all remember, you have Papa Beard, you have 12 cupcakes, and then you have Dunkin' Donuts, you have Antoinette, you have Canales, TWG, all this very dessert centric, accompanied with tea, coffee, whatever not, became an in thing. So when RENS Enterprise actually noticed this change in the industry, they started to roll out their dessert line of Japanese food as well. So dessert became an in thing. They came up with fancy, creative pastries in all shapes and sizes, and it's now available in a lot of locations in Singapore. One of the most expensive bakeries or Japanese confectioneries that you can find is actually Gokoku. It's actually one of the most expensive Japanese confectioneries in Singapore right now, where you spend nearly $60. Okay, so go take a look at it. You have one in Taka actually. Okay, in 2015, just a few years ago, the younger crowd demands for more. Okay, I am the one demanding for more also. Not that I'm very young, neither am I very old, but we demand for more fresh and loud ideas, better and affordable. So there comes a emphasis on fusion food. Okay, fusion food became an in thing, and hence a restaurant called Kabe no Ana was being rolled out, and there's a few more restaurants. Okay, so when this restaurant is being rolled out, they actually shared a little bit more of fusion food, like French, Japanese, Malaysian mix, Japanese food, that kind of things. Okay, so this is what has been changing, consistently changing on a constant move for RENS Enterprise. Okay, they have done a lot of things, they have done a lot of changes, and I believe there's lots more coming our way. Okay, so I'm going to move to the last slide. Okay, this is the trend position of RENS Enterprise. You notice in all the 4 quadrants, they have different pricings, different exquisiteness of all the food in all 4 quadrants. They cater to all 4. Okay, let me go from let's say should I go anti-clockwise? Okay, I shall go anti-clockwise. Okay, I'll leave for the best part last. Okay, the most expensive one on the top right quadrant. Okay, most expensive and the most exquisite, like I mentioned before to you, is Korea dining. Okay, minimally you're gonna spend $250 per person. And but the last time when I went there and brought my date for a dinner date, okay, it cost me $900 just for both of us. Okay, if you look at all the restaurants, it's been all spread out nicely, and I'm going to talk about Ichiban Boshi. Ichiban Boshi, it's a concept Japanese restaurant that I told you before that started off in Esplanade, and it was very successful because of all the food that they have. So the pricing is about 80 to 120 per person. Okay, and there's this little portion here that actually shares the street food as well as expensive street food. Okay, so we have Kabe no Ana, which I've shared with you before, and then Shokotsu 10 is actually a katsu fry kind of concept store. Okay, so now this is a part that recently was a boom, really a boom. Okay, when I talk boom, I'm referring really it's a boom. It's a boom money. Okay, um, Japanese alley food became very popular. Street food became very popular. Specialty food became very popular, and quick food became very popular. And I will share with you this thing called Wadori here. Wadori here is actually a Japanese yakitori stall where it has all the ready-made yakitoris in skewers, or should I say food on skewers that's ready to go with a very nice sweet sauce on your rice and pickles. Okay. Likewise for Ichiban Bento, it's food in a box that is all nicely dressed up. Okay. Idaten udon is a self-made udon. They have ready udons made for you, and you just need to do your top up of whatever ingredients you want. Okay, this is what I meant by Ichiban Sushi. It's still affordable, 50 packs for all the things that you want to eat from the Japanese menu, and then you get to have a good family time or with friends time. Okay, this last quadrant here is the one that I want to emphasize. Okay, this is one thing that most restaurants did not manage to actually do it, or most brands that did not manage to do it. Okay, serving exquisite alongside with affordable. Okay, this is one thing that I would like to say that a lot of brands did not, or should I say, has never been really very successful with it. Okay, meaning to say, a lot of people, or should I say, a lot of companies, when they prepare exquisite food, it comes with expensive payrolls for their top chefs and everything. But and then okay, before I go for the but, the exquisite food with the exquisite chef comes with exquisite prices, and all this money rolls at the end of the day is being absorbed by the consumers. But RENS Enterprise managed to actually cater to this need for affordable, exquisite food. So I really think that they brought this thing to a new level, bringing all this specialty food or even exquisite food into affordable prices. So you should go take a look at like maybe Korea Japanese market. Okay, it says Japanese market, but you can get like udons, sushis, raw cuts, all your sashimis there, and some hot food as well. So it's literally like a street. It's like a street market in Japan where it serve a fusion kind of things, you know, all mixed up, and it's really affordable. See, $30 a pack. Okay, it's quite affordable for most families. I would say that it's very affordable for me for $30 a meal. I think it's quite reasonable to get fresh cut taco sashimi, or katiki sashimi. I think that's really very good. Okay, so I will say that RENS Enterprise really meant food for life because they cater to everyone's life. They bring in all the food for every single person, from regular to specialty to exquisite, to affordable street, expensive street food, to exquisite affordable food, to expensive exquisite food. Okay, so but definitely I would say that the most wonderful thing that they have done is bringing exquisite to an affordable price. Okay, that's really important. Okay, so I've come to the end of the presentation. Okay, this presentation is done through a very tedious process. Okay, we did our research, we went outside visitation with a contact that I've gotten. Okay, we consolidate all our informations and then managed to actually bring out the important points. And then slide preparation was not that easy as well because we are very into our designs and everything. We want to make sure that, you know, the branding of RENS is not being jeopardized by our design. So we kind of try to be as consistent as how RENS is. The branding, the outlook of even our presentation must be alongside with their concepts. Okay, so this presentation is done by both myself, Matthew Lisburn, and my partner here, Wei Jie. Okay, so I hope you're enjoying what we have shared with you. So I'm looking forward to actually share with you more about RENS Enterprise soon. Thank you.